Good morning, YouTube. Hope you guys enjoyed last night's live stream on Louder with Crowder. We had the second Dem debate, and the drinking game is what made it fun. I think there wasn't a whole lot of substance, and I'm more of a substance guy, right? I really want to hear opposing plans, even if I don't agree with them necessarily. I want the opportunity to be able to hear what somebody thinks that they should do, not these really broad kind of platitudes or whatever that we heard last night. And I understand that it's a primary debate and sometimes you can't really get into that, but at the same time, I want to hear what you guys are going to do. And if you say free stuff, free stuff, free stuff, which is essentially what we heard last night, I need to know how you're going to pay for it, especially when you're asked pointedly, Bernie Sanders, how you're going to pay for those kinds of plans, or Andrew Yang for UBI. I don't think universal basic income is a good idea. I think it's something that you can't sustain over a long period of time. We found that out in Canada. They did it I think they had a 3-year program that ended in about half that time, roughly. So they were only able to do it for a little while, and they have a country that's a tenth the size of ours. So I don't know that that's a great way to go. Plus, it incentivizes people to be a little bit lazy. Now, you may say, oh, $1,000 extra a month really isn't going to do it for everybody. They're not going to just stay home and not work. You'd be surprised what people are willing to accept when it's free, right? So a lot of times you have to be in a hard situation. I know you've probably been in your life in difficult times, and you've had to force yourself to overcome those situations, right? So a lot of times necessity is the mother of invention, and that's absolutely true when it comes to finances. When you're in a tough spot, you figure out a way to either get out of that tough spot, or you basically just go out and get the skills and abilities so that you don't have to stay in that tough spot for too long, right? But it helps, right? I grew up in a very poor family. I moved 13 times before graduating from high school. My dad was not in the military. Mom and dad got married at a very young age. Dad got his GED after dropping out of high school. And I was the first person to go to college because one of the things that I wanted to do was have a little bit more option in life than some of the options that I felt like my dad was forced to take. Fantastic father, fantastic mother. I was truly, truly blessed. Love them to death, and they did a great job. But they had limited options sometimes, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't. And thank God I could play football, and thank God that Notre Dame was willing to give me a full ride to go and play football there and get a great education. So back to last night's debate. Really the big moments for... Really, everybody noticed Andrew Yang coming out without a tie on, and I personally appreciate that. I don't like ties. I don't like suits, for that matter. But at the same time, sometimes you got to wear them, and sometimes you need to wear a tie. Andrew, I don't know if he looked cool. I think he looked disengaged, especially when they came to him with the first question that was directed at him, and he basically listened to the question and then said, I'm sorry, what? What? Income, basic, something... What did you say? Oh no, I'm on national television. That's basically what he said, and didn't really get into his shtick. And I know a lot of people out there love Andrew Yang. One of these candidates to love, it's Andrew Yang for a lot of people. I get it, but I'm just not really a huge fan of goosing the economy when it doesn't need to be. Also, Kamala Harris took a pretty big swing at Joe Biden last night. Obviously, it's in the news everywhere talking about his busing policy from the 1970s and him opposing that. I think it's kind of hard to paint Joe Biden as a full-on racist. Whether he is or not isn't the issue. I said it's hard to paint him that way in the public because he was Barack Obama's vice president, the first black president that we've ever had. So people tend to make that association more than they would make an association from the 1970s on one of his policies. So I don't think this is a big deal for him, but at the same time, she took a pretty big swing at the guy, and that'll hurt for just a little bit. Bernie Sanders, basically Bernie's going to Bernie, right? He's going to go out there and say that healthcare is a human right. Everybody wants people to have access to healthcare, but I would prefer if we did something that didn't absolutely implode the system that we have, and maybe if you could focus on making healthcare cost less money. I know, shocking, cost less money. If you could help lower the cost of healthcare, I think that would open it up to far, far, far more people and be a much more sustainable plan. Instead of just saying, we're going to pay for it by taking money from these people and giving it to these people, or getting rid of insurance companies and getting rid of all of the profit evil. I know it's a terrible word. Sorry, Bernie. Profit in this business. we're just going to get rid of all of that and that's going to take care of it. But that's not going to work, guys, because eventually you're going to have a cost that you can't pay. And eventually you're going to not have resources to be able to back up paying the cost that you can't pay. And eventually the people that are paying for it, the people that are making money, the people that are going out there and making a profit and starting businesses and taking risks and having no guarantees and not paying themselves when they start a small business for a couple of years and paying their employees first, the people that have made it after doing all of that are going to say, I've got options. I'm going to go somewhere else where I don't think that people are just stealing my money to pay for stuff for other people and not addressing the issue of what the cost is. Pete Buttigieg, sorry, I gave you a promotion last night, man. You're now the governor of Indiana. It's kind of a dumb thing to say. He's the mayor of South Bend. South Bend. I have some experience with South Bend. I went to Notre Dame. Notre Dame's its own city right next to South Bend, but you kind of say South Bend for everybody. It's getting a little bit better in some parts, but it's pretty rough in a lot of other parts of South Bend. If Notre Dame was not there, it would be very rough. It would be a very difficult place to live. I don't know. I mean, I appreciate that he served in the military. I'm never going to say that somebody who served in the military, regardless of your politics, doesn't deserve our admiration or our thanks. So thank you for that, obviously. But I just don't like your policies. I don't think that you have good policies on gun control. I don't think you have good policies on what we should be doing with abortion. I don't think you have good economic policies. I don't think anything that you say so far is very good. So sorry about that. And speaking of saying something, Eric Swalwell, I was really hoping for a big screw up moment, and I figured this was going to be the night for it because this was his chance. This was his moment in the sun. He had to swing for the fences, and he didn't really. But in his closing, I did like how he was like really like, this is a great closing, guys. I said it and I hit it like on pace. Boom, hits it, closes. And I started laughing on the show last night because it didn't really land for me. So, all right, so that's kind of a wrap up. I'm going to talk in another video because you guys want multiple videos. It's difficult. You're putting so much pressure on me. I'd like to, I mean, as much as I love Quarterback Garrett, I really would like to beat him to 1,000 subscribers, and so I'm going to try to produce as much content as humanly possible, and I'm going to try to get better at it too. I think, maybe even having it not in my office where I have stuff on the wall that's been signed by people in the wine industry. Maybe out at the bar. We'll do something out there. But anyway, I'm going to talk to you about a few of the concepts and the plans, I'll call them. They're not really plans. They're just words that may form plans later on that the candidates talked about. And then also there's a couple of religious topics that I wanted to get into and talk to you guys about. So stay tuned. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Quarterback Garrett and I are racing to 1,000 subscribers, and he's made up a lot of ground, and I'm a little bit scared. So if you could do me a favor and subscribe, that would be fantastic. Thank you very much.